sure exactly, like, you know, Kaila disagreed with me, but I really feel like it's a little bit of a fancy play situation where you try to get too fancy. Whereas if they had just played a little bit more standard, I do think they might have been able to finish it. So for Na'Vi here, they shouldn't let that happen, and I don't think they will.
And ladies and gentlemen, the third game in this match is going to be Sky Temple. A little bit of a refreshing change here for the Battlegrounds in our last match of the day. Game 3, match point for Na'Vi, but a long way to go for G2 if they want to get a plane ticket over to BlizzCon.
We haven't seen much of Sky Temple here, I think, so far.
It's actually the first time, I think, today.
Well, today, for sure, the first time. So, not that common. We've seen more of the original Battlegrounds and kind of the standard Battlegrounds on top of Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I actually think this could be a good map for Na'Vi to pull out what they pulled out yesterday, which is the potential of them going to Butcher and Falstad. Falstad's really good on this map for flying around and doing what he does. And then also there's a lot of rotations between the bottom and middle lane specifically, where you can catch out people with someone like the Butcher. So maybe,
well, you know, you fly in the sky, so it would only make sense if that Falstad would thrive on the sky.
Wow, let's see how they navigate this draft then.
Oh no.
So with that Zeratul ban coming out from Na'Vi, and the Leoric ban and Johanna pickup, that seems to be kind of a go-to now for most teams. It's like, unless you can secure both, why not take one out and go for one with a little bit more crowd control, that one being Johanna?
It's very safe to pick that Johanna first, you're right, Chobra. And, you know, Sky Temple is the map where Warriors once again have a very special, you know, meaning to the team composition. When you're fighting for temple control, there are those narrow choke points, and if you have a solid, durable warrior to zone the enemies out and to prevent them from entering and contesting, you know, you're going to get off a lot of laser shots.
And Kael'thas coming in for Na'Vi already dispels my first idea, so let's scrap the Falstad Butcher for now.
Who are you feeling, actually, Kael'thas, I wonder?
From here on, from this point, I mean, they could go into Uther to help out. I think that would be not too bad a choice.
That's true. I mean, Uther's been banned out so far, but...
Are they going to give up Brightwing, though?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, Brightwing's been that lucky charm for Na'Vi so far, if you really want to think about it.
Hat-trick.
Yeah, it could be that hat-trick. And Kael'thas Muradin, of course, is a combo we talked about all day. Not surprising that they would prioritize that. For G2, then now, like, do you snatch up that Uther? Because
Jaina as well, I think, yeah, potentially. Probably two of the higher tier heroes. But remember, we're on Sky Temple. On this map, there are heroes that are going to be very good situationally. You know, for example, since you're going to be fighting a lot on temples, something like Kerrigan can come in really handy. Even heroes like Gazlo, like on paper, they're supposed to be good here on this map, but obviously we're not going to see. But yeah, Raynor and Karazim here are going to be the next picks for G2. So far, keeping it fairly standard. You know, Raynor has really found his place in the current meta as one of the guys that dealt this damage.
That kind of early Raynor coming out can only suggest that they were worried about Na'Vi taking it later on. And assuming that Na'Vi is probably going to go down a 2-warrior lineup here, potentially at least, they really wanted to make sure that they didn't have to deal with it.
I want to pick your brains a little bit on the fact that Raynor has been touted as a top assassin during the current meta all around the world. But to me, personally, it seems a little surprising that we haven't seen more of him today. Why do you think that? Is it partly the Battlegrounds we've seen and there's other assassins that are prioritized?
He's definitely strong on Battlegrounds, such as Infernal Shrines, for example, where his Hyperion is actually able to cover the entire ground when fighting for a map objective. And that, I mean, on Sky Temple, it's not impossible. If you're fighting for temple control, you put that Hyperion down there and it's going to cover roughly enough space to hit as many enemies as possible. And at the same time, if you take a first pick Johanna, she's actually one of the biggest counters to Raynor's due to her large range on the shield glare.
Makes sense. And Abathur being banned, and there's that Uther. They're like, all right, well, we took the Karazim, so we'll ban that out. Not surprising. Brightwing is still open for Na'Vi, ladies and gentlemen, so I don't think we need to think too far on which healer they're going to take.
Well, I think overall, another healer that is very popular on this map specifically when those two have gone away is Malfurion, and he has a lot of control over temple positions. Tranquility can sometimes help out a lot in those situations as well.
Roots.
So there's potential that they could go for that, with the Tenacious Roots, and eventually later on.
Yeah, I mean, with the roots, of course, especially because every temple, you're usually going to have the 2 choke points through the brushes to get into, and you can just root them in there and make sure that you continue getting your shots off from the temples. Tyrande coming out this time once again for Na'Vi, and then Arthas being the second warrior.
They're playing mind games here with G2. Like, do we really want to pick that Bribing as last pick? What are we going to do?
Yeah, they're keeping it
they're keeping it open.
Kind of hidden, but with how much stun they're going to have here, Na'Vi, they're just looking to just stun their opponents, kill them, go straight to BlizzCon. that's what they want to do here. They don't want to waste any time. And on a map like this, they're one of the best teams here to, I think, try and pull this off.
Right.
They are so good at this kind of style.
That would be a story for the history books. If Na'Vi manages to go to BlizzCon winning 3 games in a row with one of the most underrated or least popular support heroes, showing that Breivik is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
That would be a story.
Hey, I mean, that's how you change the meta single-handedly,
Yeah.
right? You just win the most important match so far in the weekend, and then you say, hey, we use that one hero.
I mean, this is great. People in Hero League picking Brightwing, losing game after game, not understanding why.
I hate to burst your bubble, guys, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. I mean, we've got...
but I wanted to say that. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe that's part of the mind
The
games.
thing is that it doesn't work as well against someone like Auto Attack Valor with Hungering Arrow Valor and Auto Attack Reyna, obviously being a lot more Auto Attack focused in comparison. So
Who is it?
Well, I will see. It looks like they've decided on what they want their last pick to be. Na'Vi, what are you going to show us? And it will be that Malfurion. James, you get 1 point for Gryffindor for guessing Malfurion.
Gryffindor?
As we go. Are you not a Gryffindor?
No, God, no.
Okay, you're definitely a Slytherin then.
Thanks.
So you're pretty, okay. So going forward into this last match, they'll ditch that Lucky Charm Brightwing. They're going to save that for another time. But going with the Malfurion, as you mentioned, I mean, there's a little bit more utility there with the roots. The heal definitely going to come into handy if you have those extended fights on the temple.
Let's make a list. Gravity Lapse, Storm Bolts, Steel
Lunar Flare,
as
Lunar
a flare
Flare.
as well. Yeah, it never ends.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the never-ending crowd control for Na'Vi.
Keep the train going.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be a fun time. Yeah, we've seen Malfurion now and then throughout. I mean, the fact of the matter is, he's always had a lot of utility. He's kind of intuitive in the fact that, okay, I heal, I can give mana, and I could go for the root. I've got that crowd control. I can help push a little bit with the Moonfire. There's a lot of things you can do.
Also, since his rework a few patches ago now, he's actually gained great kind of aggressive strength as well. We see a lot of Moonburn going in, so he has better wave clear. We have a lot of Elduin's Grace as well at level 4, which allows him to have even extra range, not only to be able to check bushes well, but also even get like out little extra snipes, little bits of extra damage here and there, despite all of his healing and utility.
Yeah, and Innervate might come into play as well. If there's a long drawn-out fight and Malfurion's able to give back a lot of mana to somebody like Kalthas, it's
one of the most underrated traits ever. I mean,
people don't even use it most of the time when they don't remember.
I mean, that's true, because early on in the game, maybe you don't need it, you're not laning with a buddy all the time, you're just like, okay, you forget about it, and then during a team fight, you're like, man, if only I'd use that for my buddy, and they were able to continue using spells. But like you said, someone like Kel'Thas, who is going to be spell heavy as a mage, that will be pretty interesting to see. I'm also interested to see for G2. They've got the Rainer, they've got the Val. They're going for a little bit more of the standard, tried and tested ranged assassins here. If they can just continue putting out that DPS throughout every fight, G2 might be able to climb back into this best of 5. All right, do you think that G2 has a good shot here now that we see the compositions?
I'm going to say this. G2, for the last couple of series, even back to group stage when they turned that around against Fnatic, they were 1-0 behind, and they came from behind. And here in the previous years, they never were the dominating team. It always took them some time to get into the series, and I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Ooh, the slow starters.
No. If they weren't going to win last game, I don't think they're going to be able to win this game. Navi is just executing too cleanly at the moment. It's looking really, really strong for Navi right now, and I really like the composition that they've got once again.
I mean, yeah, looking on paper, obviously Navi still stands as the favorable, but I mean that's a true thing though, Kenry. Some teams they just play better from behind. We've seen that in sport. Again, in sports, any competition, you kind of have your little quirks. It's time for G2 to prove that. Can you win from behind? Can you go for that reverse sweep once again? Now that it's a best of 5, let's find out in game number 3 between these two teams for a chance to fly to BlizzCon. Solid Jake and Grubby guide us into the game.
All right, guys. Well, this could be it. Sky Temple, the 3rd battleground and tournament point. Well, at least qualifying for BlizzCon point here for Navi.
Yeah, and they are fighting for $16,000. The difference between $24,000 and $40,000, and that honor to call themselves a European champion. And that will remain relevant until about BlizzCon, when World Champion will eclipse everyone else. That could be them. Now.
But you know what, G2, they showed so much promise in that last game. They had every potential to come back and take the victory. So we'll see if they can do it here in game number 3 on Sky Temple as we load on into it. What do you feel about these compositions, Grubby? You think they have the potential Karazim showing up once again, and it's actually going to be Malfurion on the side of Navi?
Yeah, well, I feel like here on the left side, the blue team here, JPL, Shwimpy, Splendor, Eternal, and the Arthas player at the bottom, who will be manned by, Alex the Pro G. This team, I feel like, has everything they need. They have 1.5 support, Malfurion plus Tyrande. They have 2 tanks, 2 damage dealers, and I just feel like they have it all. Not enough stunts on G2's side, maybe to finish people off, so they're gonna have to play for objectives. Reynor is pretty decent in that. Let's see, we see a more normal build here from the Tyrael player, not going for that kind of oddball build with Vampiric Strike and the searing attacks here.
But what's interesting is we're actually seeing Rancor picked up here by Vala. This is something we haven't seen all tournament long.
Yes.
So putting a little bit more towards an auto attack style here for Vala. Generally, we've been seeing the siphoning arrow build once in a while, the multi-shot style, but this is the third available option here to go for Rancor.
All right, so let's look at this one first here, as there is a fight here at the bottom lane. An unusual high concentration of heroes from both sides. Gravity Labs there going on Tyrael, but he's able to get out here. So very nice to point that out. The Ranker, Seasoned Marksman. What G2's plan here is mass auto attackers. Both of these are an auto attack composition. Murden, he can get close with reverberation maybe, but if he goes that far forward, he can get absolutely eviscerated by double Giant Killer at level 30.
Well, I think that's exactly the strategy here, right? They want to force Murden to get a little bit greedy for that reverberation. In the event they do that, 7-sided strike is going to be the perfect way to just tear him in half.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you mentioned, Giant Killer plus 7-sided, they will blow Murden up so very quickly in the late game.
Yeah, every now and then on Reddit you see these questions about who should we focus? Should we go for the warrior first or attack the backline? Nigger now trying to out-juke. Oh, the Stormbolt misses! But the entangle pretty much seals his fate. But should we be taking out the warrior or the backline? Well, here it's very much kill the warrior composition. G2 fully focus on that. If they can reach level 13 with relative parity and equality, then that will be quite nice for them. But for now, Natus Vincere gets the first blood on that Vala there.
Okay, well, both teams just kind of splitting up over those temples. We see 1-to-1 control, G2 controlling the middle lane, whereas the top lane being held here currently by Splendor on Malfurion, but with Nicker coming on up, that is going to be, a bit of a brief retreat as Shwimpy rotates up with a nice little foot, does connect, Stormbolt, follows through, that's Roots, that is going to be, like you said, another kill here on Vala.
I think Vala will think twice before going there exactly again. Picking up Manticore there. Every third basic attack of her will critical strike. Fully going on the auto attack. Not taking the Vampiric Assault either there. And it's kind of a bad dream for Vala out there.
You talked about this at the start. There's a lot of lockdown on the side of Na'Vi, and they're picking up Elune's Grace, which just gives you additional rain on all your basic abilities. That's so big for the Roots.
Yeah.
And we saw that showed in that last kill on Vala, just the utility of Elune's Grace.
Oh no, Tyrael going for Vampiric Strike again, 25% life leech on every auto attack that he does. Somehow he must believe that he will not be near Kharazim often enough to actually use that amplified healing, because I think in very short order, Joey would get more heals from, even a few heals from Kharazim than he can get on his own. But somehow he must believe that he'll be behind enemy lines and making use of that. It's a little bit odd, but that's the style he likes to play. So let's give him another chance and see if that will work.
All right, well, they're putting a lot of pressure on here to the bottom lane. We see JPL just throwing out the single flame strike, trying to dissuade their push. But those two giants doing a bit too much damage to that wall.
Alright, they got a nice little damage there. The ultimate prize in this part of the game is actually trying to take down the healing fountain in the bottom lane of the opposing player. If you can get that one, that pretty much guarantees superiority at the second temple phase, which is always at the south side of the map. It prevents the enemy from quickly tapping for some extra health and rejoining the fight. So that one is still one bridge too far. And now we see actually G2 heading with 4 to 5 players to the top lane to clear that bruiser camp and to put some pressure. You don't see this a lot in most games, to actually just go for the top there. They're trying to fish and maybe get some kills and make sure that they are arrayed in force and surprise the opponent, but no such kills will be taken. Splendor was too safe on this Malfurion, starting to pull back, and now we see a counter attack there on Johanna. But she still has Iron Skin and will be managing to get away there.
All right, so one thing to take note is Malfurion is currently holding onto the level 7 talent for the potential to grab Mule here. Mule incredibly powerful on Sky Temple when you consider that it's single target damage provided by the shrines, and it can heal through a fair amount of the damage dealt to those structures.
Now the decision he's making here is exactly that. Mule, or does he go for a support talent which gives more healing over time? And he doesn't really need to make this choice until he potentially gives his next heal, or he sees how the fortification situation is going to be. Now the temple is being stolen by Arthas. Hold on a second there, Burden gets taken out, and they're in full retreat. 4 versus 3.
Where are the roots? I mean, right now that's something they need desperately. JPL taking a ton, Condemn pulling them in. JPL will fall as well. That's going to be 3 heroes down on the side of Na'Vi. Beautiful play by Gamers2, evening out the experience here in Game 3.
Do you think all of them would have been alive if he had taken the healing talent?
No, it wouldn't
Probably
have made too much of a difference there. But still, beautiful plays here. That's putting them in a great spot. And that bottom temple is very much active and available as G2 is rotating to the bottom lane.
Joey's starting to take some shots now. Only 6 charges have been used thus far. G2 now taking the experience lead with that gank. And I'm so surprised Malfurion didn't pick the talent yet. That's probably going to have to choose it soon, because you cannot advance to level 10 heroic choice until you take that one.
He's actually going for the no more talent strategy, where he actually just picks up as little talents as possible.
Extreme this. There was actually one team recently in the tournament who didn't pick any talents on Lily at all to flaunt their dominance. No talents all the way to level 20, and they won with it, but I doubt they can afford that kind of confidence here.
Well, they're level 10 now, and he goes for cleanse. So they're actually going to just want to have the additional control in the battle, worried about the potential of just the slows and condemns there from Johanna. I mean, you cannot perfectly stop something like, you can't pre-cleanse something like Judgment.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean, you can still do it, but all it would do is cut Judgment stun in half from like 1.5 to 0.75. Not too worth it, but what you can do is free someone from Blessed Shield or Judgment so as to not take many hits from 7-sided Strike.
And that might be what they're thinking is what they need here. This episode Drake does go out, doing a lot of damage. Condemn pulling them in, and Alex Aprochi will be the first one to fall. Arth is down in this battle, but a lot of low members on the side of G2.
Kill the warrior is the spiel here for G2, and so far they have gotten Arthas right there, who did not have enough time to consume his ghouls to sustain himself with enough life. So nice move there by G2. 4 takedowns versus 2 and half a level lead. And they feel very fluid this game. They're very comfortable with the way they're rotating, getting camps and getting kills.
And we talked about their late game, and that was just the power of 7-sided strike being used. But now they're approaching Giant Killer. And this is going to make Vala, it's going to make Raynor so very powerful against the Arthas Muradin.
They're trying to solve the warrior meta here of 2 or more warriors with these 2 auto attack heroes. Raynor also the best buddy for Vala, as he gives her even more attack speed. This is a cool composition. We have not seen this one exactly at this tournament.
Yeah, G2 busting out the 6 strats here, and they are a little bit ahead in terms of experience, but nothing Na'Vi can't crawl back from, just down about half a level.
All right, what is going to happen next? The next temple phase will happen momentarily. There we go. One in the middle and one in the bottom. It's always a bit random. Sometimes the middle one is at the top. And this is how it's going to be done. So we see G2 rotating down. Na'Vi knows this because that's what one does. So they have to pull away from that middle. Now, which one is more valuable at this point?
So generally the bottom one is considered more valuable because you have the option to try to sneak out a boss.
Exactly.
There is, Tyrande is actually on the side of Na'Vi, so they're the ones who can always scout out the location of the opposing team and then try to slip that in. And that's why you see G2 afraid to really make their way to that middle. They're even scouting the boss right now.
Yeah, and that's even more...
Arthas is hard. He's going to try to get out here. Alex Aprochi barely escapes before we do see Leo from Korea scout out that position.
If that Kharazim was Johanna, he could have used Shield Glare just as a gamble to cancel Hearthstone there, but... Situation is as it is, and Arthas makes his way out. Na'Vi trying to get level 13 before an engagement, and G2 is aggressively hunting here. They're not content to split the temples. Why should they? They are the upper dog. They're willing to drive out Na'Vi from everything, but now the tables have turned. Level 13 each. They're starting to go on Johanna there.
And the Hunter's Mark goes down, and we see Johanna get very low. Dwarf Toss, and that is going to be an early kill. 7-sided strike, not enough here in Judgment. Goes down, Joey has to back away. Now we see Eternal in the back line. Can Dwarf Toss forward to help Alex Aprochi? and a huge living bomb just tearing through Gamers 2.
Oh no, what a terrible situation for G2, but greatly done by Na'Vi. Wow, that was quite an exhilarating fight.
Everything about that, the way they rotated around the shrines, left Arthas in the bottom, then Hearth away to steal as many shots as they could, maximizing the objective before they hit level 13. The moment they had 13, they were willing to take the fight. Just beautiful play by Na'Vi.
Yeah, really good coordination and really playing that cat and mouse game to full effect. So hard to do well, but they did it beautifully. And now they have wrested control back in the experience battle, though G2 is still leading with the fortifications.
They're leading for the fortifications, but not long. Alex Pro-G is going to use half the ammunition that is all remaining here from this bottom temple with the boss. There goes one for it. Now they're going to siege up the middle lane with the temple. You see the experience start to propel well in favor of Na'Vi. Almost a level of lead once his temple does fall, and they have to respond to the boss on top of it.
Yeah, that boss is going to start tickling the gate. We'll probably not be taking down any additional structures here. Na'Vi starting to use their map control, getting the siege giants here, which will require G2 to defend for even longer. And the smart thing to do now would be Na'Vi going all the way to the top lane, maybe the top gate, and try and put some pressure there. That would create a difficult choice for G2 whether to defend the bottom or the top. But Na'Vi, they want to make sure they don't get engaged on before level 16.
I think that's smart. I mean, just wait till you have a clear advantage and then look for those super aggressive plays.
Yeah,
but we're actually seeing G2 realize there is a small window in which they're not down a talent here, and they're getting aggressive in the giant camp. Na'Vi probably doesn't expect this, and they're going to get away with it.
Yeah. They're going to get away with that. I believe Na'Vi did scout with the Sentinel. I believe it hit Nicker there, the Vala player on the right. But because level 16 wasn't strictly speaking reached yet,
it
did not engage.
This is a bit scary.
Na'Vi now, they want to chase.
Leo able to get out of there using the double blink forward. And Eternal looking for that Stormbolt. Now Iron Skin using Johanna to prevent that opportunity from being available as she passes behind the enemy line. But we do see the Lunar Blaze connect, the Howling Blast, the Blessed Shield goes out, and a lot of damage is being used. 7-set strike on Alex Pro-G, not quite enough. An army that is keeping him alive, and Jiawei will get blown up.
Wow, so many heroics being used there. Arthas was down to a sliver of his life, but this time the combined support of Malf and Toronto was enough to keep him alive. A nice turnaround there, and they were able to get Tyrael. And all of this is because Johanna used her Iron Skin a little bit too early. Now the Lunar Blade Entangle blown up Vala in record speed.
And Eternal able to dwarf toss to safety. 2 heroes down on the side of G2. Nearly a 2-level advantage for Na'Vi. But they're just going to rotate back and prepare for this bottom temple.
Bottom temple is going to activate in 15 seconds. They still have one siege giant pushing there, but that one won't last for too much longer, as this minion wave is going to outpush that a little bit. Bruiser Camp is going to be captured perhaps by G2 if they feel they cannot contest this objective, lacking level 16 for now. Now they're going to rotate to the middle, try and pick up some XP in the middle and bottom, and potentially get a fight there.
Okay, well, level 16, like you said, around the corner, about to be hit by G2. They can then look for a fight. Actually, they should look for a fight. If they let Na'Vi continue to bully them with with the map objectives like the temple, it is going to be unfavorable for them in the long run. And Eternal will dwarf shots over the wall, but Judgment will be used. We see Schwimpy trying to get there. He has some heals from Tyrande, not the full support, but this is enough time for the rest of the team to rotate down. Arthas in the backline, they want to get him in the front, and then Na'Vi will look to initiate, but Gamers 2 now have their level 16 talents.
Yeah, Circle of Life, Blood for Blood, Bullseye being picked up, Executioner for Vala, and Blessed Hammer for Johanna for some more damage. They're going to try and use that to blow someone up. Vala here flanking, and Johanna taking so much damage.
Beautiful dwarf toss in, but Schwimpy is taking a lot of damage. The first aid is not going to be enough to save him, but Starfall just raining down gets the double kill. Now Gravity Lapse with Hunter's Mark taking out Tyrael. They're looking for those last 2 heroes. They will control the bottom temple, and Na'Vi are pushing even further ahead.
Wow, they really did a great job there. We saw Murden go down so quickly to the combined might of G2, but they did not have enough staying power here, as Na'Vi now takes a huge lead in this game. Going to be able to blast that keep with the laser, continuing to pick up mercenary camps, and will be very close to getting level 20. Na'Vi, they're so close to BlizzCon, they can almost taste it.
I mean, honestly, a 3-level advantage. They're up 2 games to 0 in the semifinals. This could be it, Grubby. Like you said, they have to be tasting that moment right now.
0.8 level is what Na'Vi is lacking to level 20, and once they do, they all but guarantee the acquisition of the next objective. Whether it's going to be a boss or a bruiser camp or the temple phase itself, G2 is running out of time. They would ideally like to force a fight before level 20 reaches, not because they are confident that they will win it, but because they are damned if they wait for too long. Sentinel now revealing Joey's position. They're starting to move to the middle. Their intentions are revealed, much because of that Sentinel, but also because Na'Vi knows it's the right thing to do for G2 to try and force a fight here.
And this is a risky play if I've ever seen one. Starting on the boss when you're down in experience, Sentinel revealing this as their opportunity. They want that fight before 20, and this will in fact force it. But the blow up there on Tyrael in a heartbeat. So much damage being thrown now onto Alex the Purgy, so it's a trade 1-for-1, but Starfall and Strafe are burning down each team respectively. Leah from Korea managing to just barely escape the clutches of Na'Vi, but the Lunar Flare does it, and the Sentinel takes out Bala.
Excellent marksman shot there by Tyrande. Leo from Korea goes down as well.
The GG is called, and Na'Vi will advance to BlizzCon 2015.
Na'Vi undefeated in this tournament is going to challenge tomorrow for the grand finals and are guaranteed a spot at BlizzCon. They're doing the final moments, the final theatrics here, but G2 has already given up, knows it's not possible to defend anymore.
Hands off the keyboard, drink in the water. I mean, played so well, all tournament loss. Grubby, did they lose a single game?
They did not. Their score here is 7-0. Natus Vincere is a force to be reckoned with. They have shown it in other games, this multi-gamer organization, and here they go to